Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's Market Update. I'm noticing a trend lately of more and more home buyers and home sellers entering the market with less preparation than we've seen the last few years. Now, this isn't all that new. This is very much more so in line with what we were handling pre-COVID. But over the past couple of years, I was seeing more and more home sellers ready to sell their homes, doing a lot more preparation in terms of decluttering, in terms of updates and repairs and refreshes. So lately I've got a lot more sellers coming to me where their furniture might not be up to date, their decor and their repairs might not be as up to date. While it does limit us with some of the marketing campaigns we can do, prior, when we were seeing a lot of homes really in tip-top shape when they enter the market, we can get a lot more creative with video and other marketing and media channels. However, the really cool thing is now with a lot of our new AI tools, we are able to do things with marketing those homes that we weren't able to pre-COVID when we were dealing with houses in similar condition. Those, especially things like virtual staging. Before it was just if we had an empty room, we could add some furniture. Now I can remove your old furniture that you didn't want to get out, or, virtually enhance or update a room so that people can see not only what it looks like currently, but visually see the potential of what that home, that room, that space could become. And in terms of the home buyers, I'm seeing a little bit of an uptick in home buyers coming to me saying, all right, hey, we want to buy a house. Let's go. Let's start looking at houses without the anticipation of that onboarding meeting, that preparation in terms of getting your pre-approval, understanding the process, understanding the documentation and the contracts and the market as a whole. So that's another challenge that we are dealing with. So I encourage you, if you are buying a home, to contact me as early in the process as possible, not right when you're ready to go looking at homes. So that being said, let's get into the stats this week, see what's going on in the housing market in our local area, including Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Harding, Mars Plains, Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, Basking Ridge, and Randolph. So we saw 50 homes come on the market this past week. That's a 72% increase over the prior week. Now, not terribly surprising. It is a nice uptick. However, we had Memorial Day weekend last week, so I'm sure a lot of people who would have been looking to put their house on the market last week decided to hold off until this week. They didn't want to be dealing with the prime time for showing their house, the first weekend on the market, to be a holiday weekend where a lot of people were away. So we saw 50 homes come on the market this past week. Basking Ridge had the most homes come on the market with 10. We saw healthy numbers in most of these towns. However, we saw Harding with no homes come on the market, Mars Plains with only 1, and Bernardsville with only 2. So if you're looking in those towns, be prepared for a longer process, a little bit more of wait. However, towns like Basking Ridge, Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Chester, Randolph, we're seeing a nice healthy number of homes coming on the market. So if you're in the market to buy in those towns, you might be able to have some more options to work with. Out of these houses that came on the market, 37 of those were single family houses and 15 of those were condos or townhouses. The average list price of these homes that came on the market was $1,037,000. That's actually a 53% increase over last week. And the towns with the highest average list prices, which were actually much lower than the highest average list prices we've been seeing in prior weeks. But we had Chester with $1,315,000 and Bernardsville with $1,310,000. We saw Morristown, Chatham, and Madison and Basking Ridge with average list price over $1 million. However, we did see 3 towns, Mars Plains, Mendham, and Randolph, with average list price under $1 million. Total inventory, total number of homes actively on the market in these towns is 253 homes. That's a 3% increase over the prior week. However, when we look at the breakdown in individual towns, we're seeing a large disparity. The highest number of active listings are in Mendham with 42 homes actively on the market, and then Basking Ridge with 41 homes actively on the market. But we saw, I'd say about a little more than half of these towns with an increase in number of homes on the market, most of them significant. But then just under half of those, we saw a decrease in number of homes on the market overall over prior week. So sold homes, we saw 23 homes sell this past week in these towns. That's a 15% decrease over the prior week. Morristown, Chatham, Madison, and Basking Ridge all had 4 homes sell. Chester with 3 homes, and then all the remaining ones with 0 to 2 homes sell this past week. The average list price of homes sold this past week was $1,128,000. That's $1,128,000. Average sale price was $1,227,000. We had Chatham come in once again with the highest average sale price at $2,544,000. The sale to list ratio this past week, homes sold on average for 12.8% above list price. We saw Mendham sell at 2% below list price, but otherwise every single other town sold above list price. In fact, Chester, we saw homes sell for an average of 45% above list price. Now, there were 3 sales in Chester. It's a little bit skewed. There was 1 home that sold more than twice the list price. So it was, let's see here. That home sold at 117% above the list price. However, the 2 other sales were 12% and 6% above list price. So those were healthy numbers as well. Average days on market, we saw these homes sit on the market for 27 days, which is a 48% increase over the prior week. And then under contract, we saw 34 homes go under contract. That's a 21% decrease over the prior week. A clear winner here with Basking Ridge with 10 homes going under contract. Average list price in all of these towns for homes that went under contract was $1,080,000. And these homes were on the market for a median of 16 days. So it seems as though we're getting a little bit of a late start to spring market. This is a time of year where typically it's still pretty active, but we do get some concerned to see that summer slowdown, which is really more towards the end of July that we start to see that. But it seems like we're seeing a little bit of an uptick post-Memorial Day, and we'll see how that carries on through summer, whether that means a busier summer than normal, or we'll just see a little bit of a blip after the holiday and then back down to quiet times. So thanks very much for checking in with me. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys again next week.